All right, on the Gray Man podcast, we have two special guests. Someone who is usually we don't do introductions, but today I will. And the reason for that is because it is because of someone who is connected to my history, and and that person who is connected to my history is is the parents, Miss Kathy and sorry, I'm so nervous, Mr. Rick. Miss Kathy and Mr. Rick Brown. It's Nathan Patrick Brown, Private First Class Nathan Patrick Brown. His parents, they are Gold Star parents to a guy I served with in the United States Army. I went through basic training with him in Fort Benning, Georgia, in the summer and fall of 2002. We were Delta Company 219 on Sand Hill in Fort Benning, Georgia, and I want to. I don't know why I'm nervous. I've spoken to you guys before, but I want to, yeah, I know, right? I want to say thank you for coming to the platform and thank you for sharing your story and Nathan's story with the rest of the guests. And let me go ahead and just say, go ahead and introduce yourself and welcome to the Gray Man Podcast.
Hi, Carlos. Thanks for having us. I'm Kathy, Nathan's mother.
And I'm Rick, Nathan's father.
Yes, sir. All right, awesome. So, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and where you guys come from.
We're from South Glens Falls, New York. Nathan was born and raised here. We have 4 children. Nathan was our oldest.
Okay,
And there's Christopher, Megan, and Victoria.
absolutely. All right, and when was Nathan's birthday?
Nathan was born on June 13th, 1982.
Okay.
He was my mother and father's 13th grandchild. He was born
Okay.
at 3:13 in the afternoon. So he was my lucky 13.
There it is. Got a birthday coming up too, and a little less than a month now. So
Yes.
absolutely, yep.
Yeah.
Let me see. So tell us, what was Mr. Nathan like as a child?
You want to
Nathan as a child. Oh, I mean, if you ever seen that kind of kid that's always been, very exuberant, very, oh God, he put you through the ringer. More energy than you can just imagine. I mean, I used to be able to just stand there, and I'm talking that he was like 3, 4 years old. He could literally climb up to the side of me and get up on my shoulders. When he wanted to be there, that's unbelievable.
6'1"? Yeah,
Yep.
36'1".
I was like, wow, man.
Yeah, he used to climb the walls pretty well too.
Oh
He
yeah,
was
oh yeah.
funny.
Oh,
He was
God.
very funny.
Hilarious.
Very much looked out for the underdog.
Most definitely,
He had a very compassionate heart for.
absolutely, absolutely. I can attest to that too. I've seen that happen when we were in basic training. Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, what kind of kid was he like in school? I mean, I know we know, but I want to tell the world.
He was very smart. Was not good in
Yeah,
English. English wasn't a strong point, but he was
me
very
either.
smart.
Yeah.
He did well. He did well in school.
Right. I
Awesome.
mean, he actually wanted to be a history teacher.
Yeah.
Really? Now
Yeah.
that I didn't know. Okay.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, he was really about history and a history buff type of thing. We had an old veteran guy who bought the Aaron's house. It's here in the Glens Falls area. It's right next to Crandall Park Pond and everything.
Hmm.
And Nathan had an opportunity to meet the guy, and he just so inquisitive. Yeah, he had so many. The man served in World War II.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to know everything and anything he could think about. I mean, even me and him, he had, what was the name of that game that we would play? It was all about World War II, but, and we're running around playing, video game kind of thing, because that was Nathan. Oh my God.
Hmm.
Like Risk.
Yeah. And the history that, wasn't, Medal of Honor is what the name of the game
Okay.
was. It was a computer game.
Hmm.
And the whole history around it was all based around the World War II episode in Europe,
Yes, sir.
So it was that kind of thing. And he was always so inquisitive about, did they do that right? No, that's not right. He'd sit there and say that kind of stuff didn't happen.
Yeah, yeah.
It was more like this, and how smart he was about, catching little things like that,
Hmm.
where they tried, and was as well in the movies and stuff. He was the same way. It's like he knew about the real happenings. So the
Hmm.
history thing just is what stuck out with me, when thinking about his education. I was so impressed by that.
I'm gonna tell you, there's two
It's amazing
people.
when you're,
Oh, yes, sir. There's two people you cannot watch movies with, and that is a veteran and a police officer, because they will point it out. They will point it out. Nah, we don't do that. That's not how that works. So,
no,
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So, I was gonna say,
but
what kind of sports did he play in school? I know he was pretty athletic.
Football.
Awesome.
Like football.
Was there a particular position he played?
defensive back.
Okay, okay. And let me see. I know that he had a passion for the military because I know you just said that he used to question about World War II, and I know that a lot of his family served in the military as well. Um, when did you know about his decision to want to enlist in the army?
To wanting to enlist.
Hmm.
Oh,
Well, in all essence, I'm a veteran myself. I'm
Yes,
a
sir.
Marine Corps veteran. And back when he was like 15, 16 years old, yeah, that was his thing. He wanted to become a Marine,
Hmm.
and naturally, I'm like,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
how proud, kind of thing. And, anyways, as time went on, that kind of sort of didn't happen. And he eventually was talking with his mother, and I'll let her speak to that.
yeah.
Hmm.
He didn't graduate from school. He did his GED. Marine Corps didn't want him. So I sent him down with a neighbor to check out the National Guard.
Hmm.
And he ended up enlisting in the National Guard. And he was excited about it. He really wanted to be a Marine
Hmm.
or enlist in the Army, active Army.
Absolutely.
But he ended up enlisting in the National Guard.
Yeah,
So
I had a similar story as his also, where I didn't graduate high school either, and mine was a little different. I ended up having a baby, so I was thinking like I cannot be a loser. No disrespect to my father's side of the family, but a lot of them are um, they're more involved in criminal activity, and I just didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go that path with my son that had just been born. So I was like, I got to do something. So I ended up getting a GED also because I didn't graduate. I was just I don't know. I was just kind of aimlessly running around. So the fact that he didn't graduate and he got his GED and went to the army, that is absolutely something I can relate to. Yeah, definitely.
mhm.
How did you guys feel about his enlistment?
Proud of him, very proud of him. Proud that he
Definitely.
wanted to, be in the military. That's the way he wanted to go.
Hmm.
Even me as a Marine, I figured, well, okay, that means I could bust at him a little bit.
Definitely, definitely. Well, he went infantry, so he was definitely he did the same kind of the similar thing as that. I know all Marines are infantry, but they got SOI, so that's School of Infantry. Every Marine a rifleman type thing. So y'all had some commonality right there. He didn't go as a pogue, that's he didn't go
Right.
some other job, but yeah, that's awesome. So you say he chose the army from the influence of a neighbor, out of suggestion of mom. And when he did choose, because in the army, it used to be back when we enlisted, it was 212 jobs, whatever you could pick. He went and decided to choose infantry, something I just stated. Well, how did you feel about him choosing the infantry?
I questioned why,
Hmm.
and he said because it was the most active thing he could probably do.
Hmm.
He was interested in, he wanted to be a sniper Or oh, he had big dreams. He had big
Absolutely.
dreams on what he wanted to do, and
Absolutely.
and then of course 9/11 had happened, and
Hmm.
that also influenced him to join infantry.
Hmm.
Not to say he wanted to kill people, just saying that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know be in the front lines of the battle
Most definitely. I remember a
is
lot of
what he
people
wanted.
who, oh, yes, sir. A lot of people who probably watch this or are around today, I don't think they really remember the attitude of the American society, like how we were. It wasn't September 11th. It was September 12th. Everybody was together. Like everybody wanted to take
Hmm.
the fight to the enemy. Like they were American stores couldn't keep American flags in any store. They were everywhere. Like the
No.
sense of patriotism was like through the roof. So yeah, definitely him wanting to join the infantry. It wasn't more or less about because I can relate to this sentiment definitely because we had a guy in our platoon in basic training. He was from New York, and he was 35 when he was going through. And it was funny because guys are 35, we call him grandpa because we're all like 17, 18, 19. And so we call him
Hmm.
grandpa, but he said he wanted to join the infantry because he felt it was a sense of duty to protect the honor of this country. Like there was guys that had
Yep.
attacked us, and he has to do his part to bring the fight back to them.
Hmm.
And he felt like being in the infantry was the best way to do it. So yeah, it definitely isn't about some type of sadistic whatever. But I'll tell you some stories. So when we went to basic training. Now this I'm gonna tell you a story that you guys haven't heard. But so we went to basic training, and we all flew into Atlanta, Georgia. We sat there in the Atlanta airport. It was my first time in the Atlanta airport, and it was huge. There was like subway trains there and everything. But when we got to the terminal where we were all supposed to meet, there was a guy saying everybody going to basic training, sit over here. So we sat there. We all got on the bus. Everybody talking about, yeah, man, I got a Ranger contract. Yeah, I got a Special Forces contract. I got infantry. Just the guys talking, and I'm gonna be like this when I get there and like that. And as we started rolling into Columbus, Georgia, which is where Fort Benning is at, we got there like it was dark, but you could see that sign lit up, Fort Benning, Georgia, home of the infantry. And then you can see we drove past, we rode on to the base. As we got to the base, there was this huge canopy. It was like a huge like shelter. It was bright white. It was dark outside, but you could see that it was huge. It was bright white, and you could see the MPs walking next to the bus with mirrors and canines, and we're like, man, this is for real. Like the gravity of what we decided to do kind of just hit us, and then we pulled into a building they call 30th AG. When we got at 30th AG, there was drill sergeants lined on each side, and when we got there, there was one drill sergeant that just came on the bus and said, everybody get off the bus, and, started chewing us out. We got the shark attack. And as soon as we got inside the building, separated us, who here has a infantry, airborne, ranger, or special forces contract? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. The rest of y'all who do not, sit over there. And we didn't see them guys for the rest of the time we was there. So they had us dump our stuff out, um, went through everything, took our cell phones from us. Kind of like other little personal items we weren't supposed to have. Made us shave for the first time we got there, and we were dealing with that for about 4 or 5 hours. Then we finally got to go to sleep, and going through reception. This is before you go downrange. You get all your shots. You do your initial PT test. You get your hair cut. You get sized and fitted for your uniforms. And when we did all of that, um, we were going to chow, and in chow, man, you can eat whatever you want. You eat like a king in there. Cake, slices of cake like this big, glistening with the icing and everything, just sitting right there. Take it, eat it. Nobody says a word to you. Then you get your duffel bags and you start lining them up, get ready to go down range. Drill sergeants come, they grab your duffel bags, um, and they put them on a truck, and you march down range to your unit. We got to the unit on Sand Hill. It was Delta Company, 2nd Battalion, 19th Infantry. Rocket Chickamauga, I believe that's what we used to call it, Delta 219. And when we got there, he and I was in 4th platoon. I think he was roster number 4. There was two guys. I remember there was an Adams, somebody else, and there was black brown and white brown. He was white brown because we had two browns. His battle buddy was brown, the black guy, and black brown ended up getting appendicitis like week, he was like in the very beginning, like week 1.5, 2. So everywhere you go in basic training, you have to have a battle buddy. Um, and you can't do anything without a battle buddy. And so his battle buddy ended up catching having appendicitis. He got sent home to be rotated back and start basic training again later on. So he actually didn't have a battle buddy for about a week or two. So he was considered like a third wheel to everybody else's group until somebody else got sent home for being hurt or whatever. But during that time period, we had like different PT tests, and he was actually um, the first guy, not in just our platoon, but in our company, to pass the PT test completely. You know, you had your push-ups, sit-ups, run, and pull-ups. So he was the first dude. So he was the PT stud. I remember he rubbed it in everybody's face. And when we were in basic training, when you get down range, you're not allowed. See, I was telling you about the slices of cake and all that. You're not allowed to eat slices of cake when you get down range because they want to burn the fat off you. But
Okay.
unless you pass the PT test, you've earned the right to eat sugar. And I'm talking about they were serious about that. Like they used to take our Skittles, they used to take our MREs, they used to take our Skittles, they used to take our little juice packets that we would put in the canteen. They took all of that
Hmm.
until you passed the PT test completely. Not just one or two sections, like you had to pass all four sections: push-ups, runs, push-up, run, sit-up, and pull-up. And and like I said, he was the first one to do it in the whole company of 300 guys, 4 platoons, 60. No, it's like 300 guys or 240 guys, something like that. It was 60 guys per platoon, and he was the first one. So he would rub in our face that he passed, and we would argue with him like I'm talking the whole platoon because the thing was too is if he ate his cake, we had to work off the sugar he had. So like he would eat like yeah, so like if he had
That's
like
funny.
okay, okay, well, you guys owe me 300 calories. Like what I'm saying? So we would argue with him like, bro, you are not eating the cake. And then like we had talked about how he used to say, man, no, that's stupid. I earned the right to eat. I'm gonna eat my cake. I'm gonna eat my piece of pie. I'm like, no, man, like, you're not gonna do that. So that's one thing. Yeah, that's one thing. I'll tell you another one. So I'll tell you another story.
That's funny.
This is the one y'all don't know about. And I thought about this after we talked last time. So, we always used to do stupid stuff, right? In basic training. Anybody, I mean, Mr. Rick, he knows when he went through basic training in the Marine Corps, everybody has their own little stupid stories and stuff that they did, especially when it came to, cause they, in the infantry, it's like a super testosterone driven kill, fight. We're gonna win attitude. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a um, a pissing contest. If I'm gonna use the PG-13 word for it. So, um, another thing we used to try to do is like to try to demoralize the other platoons. So there was these two guys. One dude's name was Miller. I can't remember the other guy's name. I want to say it was like Hoke or something like that, but definitely Miller because he was my platoon guy and I was the platoon sergeant. So they got this stupid idea. Like I was using the bathroom. I didn't even know what was going on, but I heard the yelling and everything. So I'm in the bathroom. I'm like reading. We had an IET handbook that we had to memorize stuff out of it, and it's the initial enlistment training book. Just teach you everything about the army when you first get in there. So um,
Mhm.
a Miller for sure. Him and the other guy, they decided to go streaking the other platoon barracks and so I heard the shouting, and I didn't know what was going on. So I'm getting up and I'm going out there because I don't want the drill sergeants to come back because I'm platoon sergeant. I have to make sure that my platoon is in order, I just want to see what's going on. So I go out there and
Yeah.
see what's up, and then they tell me like, "Yo, man, Miller and I think the guy's name was Hoke. I can't remember. I know Miller and this other guy. They went. Now they're streaking the platoon. They're streaking the other barracks. So we all laughing about it. We think it's funny. Brown didn't think it was funny. Brown was tired of them playing. He was tired of their foolishness because we did stuff like this all the time. Like we would capture their flag, their guide on flag, and we would just have like we call it. I know this is not politically correct, but we used to play like smear the queer with people's PT uniforms. We would throw it and we would just mash the guy just a way, or we
Yeah.
would, you know what I'm saying? So he was just like, he was tired of them playing games and he was like, no. And because they were like, yeah, just wait for the door. They're gonna knock on the door. We're gonna let him in. He said no. He locked him out. And they were out there beating on the door for like 10 minutes. And he was arguing with other guys, and I'm laughing, and I'm like, because I'm thinking about if the drill sergeant see these two naked guys sitting outside in the hallway in the stairwell. Man, it was so funny. But long story short, Brown ended up letting him in, but he said the next person that does that, like, we're going to the showers, and so because he was tired of their games, and we would say we're going to the showers. That's when we used to have little boxing matches. But yeah, that was a funny memory, man. And 'cause I thought it was hilarious because he stood by it was him and he stood down like 10 guys. And they were like, "Hey, open the door, man. You
Yeah.
gonna get smoked." He was like, "Nah, man. Like, I'm tired. I don't care." Because he knew he was in shape. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he was, I don't care. Like, I'll do the push-ups and the flutter kicks and whatever. Like, no, they gonna have to learn their lesson. I am tired and y'all acting like kids. We're supposed to be learning how to fight. Like, oh man, it was so funny. But yeah, that was another one of the basic training stories I had of Brown. So for sure. All right. So when he finished basic training, how did you guys feel? Like when you got to see him again?
Oh, ecstatic to see him again. Happy.
Proud.
Awesome.
Yeah, very proud of him.
Awesome. Awesome. I know you guys came for the turning blue ceremony when we got the blue cord, and then you were there for the graduation, definitely. So absolutely. Did it bring back any memories for you, Mr. Rick?
Um, I wasn't there for when this all happened for him down
Okay.
there. I had to stay up home here with the rest of our kids. Kathy and his girlfriend Sarah were the ones that drove down.
Mm-hmm.
So I
You
wasn't there to
drove the
see
you
that.
drove y'all
But the
drove
whole
down
point
there?
when he did get home,
Yeah, we drove down. Yep, we drove down. Yeah, we drove down, and Nathan drove back. Oh Lord,
Man,
we
that
we
is
that's
that
got
was a
we
journey.
got down there. It was so nice out. It was so
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
out. We left here in freezing rain.
Yeah, yeah,
It was
definitely.
January when you guys
Yeah, it was.
graduated. It
Yep.
was freezing rain. We got down there, well, about North Carolina, with weather started getting nice.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice in South Carolina. Got into Georgia. We got lost. We got lost in Atlanta. We ended up because we got on the expressway,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
middle lane. Okay, because someone told us we could ride in that because there's two of us. Well, we
Mm-hmm.
ended up missing our turn, so we ended up getting off in Atlanta. And I remember it was just getting dusk, and we're driving around trying to figure out how to get back on the highway.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, this police officer sees us, and he's like waving us to stop because we are two girls in a little Ford car
Yeah,
with
yeah,
New York
yeah.
plates on it and
Yeah,
sand,
yeah.
salt and sand all over his car. And he's like, "Are you lost?" We're like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, you don't want to be hanging around here. I'll drive you back so you can get
Yeah,
back
yeah,
on."
yeah.
So he was like, so we got down there. It was nice out that night. And the next morning we got up, it was freezing.
Mm,
It was freezing cold. And we ended up going to the graduation. And
mm-hmm.
it was so cold, I remember. And I remember I couldn't find when it comes time to pin the blue cord on,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't find them. Excuse me, I'm just getting over walking pneumonia.
It's all right.
Um, and I couldn't spot which one was him, and neither could Sarah because everybody looked the same.
Yeah, yeah, we did. Yeah, all same haircut. Y'all all thinned out.
Yep.
Absolutely. Definitely, definitely.
Well, he
Yep.
ended up flagging us down. We pinned the blue cord on him. I
Mm-hmm.
remember that we got to leave. We head back to the hotel where we were
Mm-hmm.
staying. Excuse me. And he we got up the next morning and he's like, "Let's get the hell out of here." And yeah, let's get the hell. I want to get the hell out of here. And I said, "Okay." So we got moving.
Mm-hmm.
We're on our way home. It was cold, but it wasn't storming there or anything.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was still kind of chilly. We went to stop to get something to eat, and he stopped at some place, and Sarah didn't want that, so he ends up pulling away. And I wanted the first place he stopped at. Sarah wanted some other place, And then he just like, we're going home. I'm getting the hell out of here. I've had enough of this place. I
Oh
just
yeah.
want to get the hell out of Georgia.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
And
yeah, definitely. Yep, yep.
yeah, so he was giving me a hard time for like an hour of driving. So I called Ricky. I said, will you call our son and tell him that I am hungry and he needs to stop so I can eat because he's not stopping. Well, he ended up stopping. Oh, be a baby, mom, or whatever he's saying to me. Be a baby.
Hmm.
He's saying to me in the car. I'm in the back seat. Then Sarah took we were going to take turns driving. He drove like a bat out of hell. I remember we got to North Carolina and I'm like looking around like, why are all these people abandoning their cars on the side of the road? Well, our son Christopher lives in North Carolina.
Hmm.
And if it starts to storm, and it was sleeting and snowing. If it starts to storm, you cannot be on the roads.
Wow.
Well, that's why they're abandoning the cars. Didn't
Hmm.
understand why the people were abandoning their cars. But Nathan is flying. Well, there's this person in a station wagon from Pennsylvania. And of course, we're driving into Pennsylvania at this point.
Yeah.
And we're into Virginia, and we're getting ready to drive into Pennsylvania, and he is racing this guy. I mean, the roads are icy. He's flying, doing 75, 80 miles. We're going home. I said, Nathan, you're going to kill us. You're going to kill us. Well, he ended up getting into Pennsylvania before this guy did. He was all happy about that. We get into New York State. I believe we were like Oneonta or someplace we got into. We ended up going that way.
Hmm.
And he goes, and I fell asleep in the car. I ended up waking up. I said, Nathan, roll the windows up. Please, I'm cold. Better cold and alive than warm and dead, he says to me. I'm like, Nathan, I want to be warm. I'm cold. I was exhausted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he wouldn't do it. So then he ends up waking me up, see if I would drive. So I said,
Hmm.
yeah, sure, I'll drive. So again, I get behind the wheel and he goes, pull over here at this rest stop. Sarah has to use the bathroom. So Sarah gets out to use. I said, well, I might as well go too. So I get out. I come back out. He's in the driver's seat. I said, Nathan, get out of the driver's seat. I'm going to drive. He goes, no, I'm driving. You can't drive. You're falling asleep. You're going off the road and everything. You can't drive. You're no help, he says. Well, he ended up getting us home.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Flying. I think it what should have been a what? 15, 20-hour trip.
Hmm.
Yeah, about a 21-hour trip. Ended up taking us like 19 hours. Didn't take us that long.
Yeah,
Saved
definitely,
up a
definitely.
couple hours.
Yeah. Yeah, we made it home. He
Definitely.
was that was how he was.
Oh,
It was
absolutely.
his way or no way.
Yeah, if he wasn't feeling it, he had no problem with telling you how he felt. And
Nope.
I
He
always
didn't.
respected that, but I loved it because I was the same way where if I was like, nah, that I'm not feeling that, man. He would tell you. His thing was, and we already spoke, nah, that's stupid. No, we're not doing that. That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. That's
It's
stupid.
stupid.
Yep.
that
Stupid.
was
Yep.
that was it. Nah,
Doesn't
I
nah,
used
that's
to hear
stupid.
that a lot from that's stupid, Mom. Don't be
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah, yeah. That's right. That was definitely him.
He was, he was also very funny too.
Oh,
Him and
hilarious.
I, we'd have so many laughs and his friends. He was very funny.
Hmm.
Very, very active. I mean, his whole skateboarding and
Hmm.
rollerblading, biking, hiking. He liked playing video games. Oh, he gets so mad at his video games though.
Hmm.
You could hear him up there squealing in his room and yelling at him. And I'd be like, okay, I mean, that's enough. Time to go outside. And
Yeah,
he'd have
yeah.
no problem with it. He'd go outside. He'd be okay. Or then when he got older, it'd be
Mhm.
come downstairs. I'm going rollerblading or I'm going on a bike ride. I've had enough of that stupid game.
Man, that's hilarious. So I know that I know he came home before he was deployed. And did you guys notice any differences in like his routines, or was there anything different about him, like say before he left when he was a civilian and now he came home as a soldier? Did you guys notice any changes?
Well, he was always he tried to be always punctual
Hmm.
and if he had something to do, he'd do it.
Hmm.
I mean, whether he wanted to do it or not, just like school, he'd be up before me. He had to be at school. He had to get
Hmm.
there. He had to be there on time. But I noticed he was prouder and he took more better care of himself physically. I
Definitely.
think. I mean, he was always active and always did a lot of active things. Stop.
Hmm.
And but I think he took more care of himself and he wanted to be, more active,
Yes, ma'am.
more, yeah. Couldn't
So,
wait to do drill. Couldn't
mhm.
wait to, go on his, what do they call them there? It was drill. Go to drill.
Yep,
He
drills.
couldn't wait for that.
Well, they have AT
Yeah.
also in the
Yep.
National Guard also. Yep. So AT for everybody is annual training. It's usually like they got the 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year. So yeah, yep, that's what it is.
Yep.
So when did he and his unit deploy to Iraq?
They deployed to Iraq in January of 2004.
So January 2004, that would have been OIF 2, I believe.
Yep.
Operation Iraqi Freedom,
Yep.
the second year. So when he deployed, how often did you hear from him? Did you hear from him? And then when you did, was it like letters, calls, emails? Because email was still
I
kind of
got
a new thing back then. But
but I would get emails from him.
hmm
Maybe, well, when he was in Kuwait, I'd get one maybe once a day.
hmm
He called when he got to Kuwait. Heard from him a couple times. Said they were waiting. He was getting, of course, impatient,
absolutely,
waiting.
absolutely,
Everything's tentative and hurry up and wait.
absolutely.
And he was getting impatient.
hmm
And I don't know exactly when he went over there.
hmm
Well, I believe it was, February. It was February when he got over there,
Okay.
when he
How long was
eventually
the
went over to Iraq
how long was the deployment supposed to be for?
for a year.
For a year.
Yes.
All right, so he's over there. As you're getting called, well, you got a call. As you're getting emails and correspondence from him, what were some of the things that he was telling you about while he was over there? I know he couldn't tell you much because of
Oh, he told
Operation
us about,
Security, but
we just talk about what was going on at home.
okay.
How was he doing? He'd say that he had to do his laundry in a bucket. He's just telling me, stuff how he living
hmm
wise.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was living in a Connex container.
hmm
They made Connex boxes as rooms or
hmm
bunks or whatever. He was doing his laundry in a bucket. What else? And stuff that he wanted me to send him. Thumb drive.
hmm
His game. He had his Nintendo with him.
Game Boy.
Game Boy with him. He wanted the metal. No, it wasn't Metal Honor. It was I can't remember now. Game that he was into.
hmm
A war game. He wanted there was some other stuff too that some of the other guys wanted. Could I send that? And of course, we did a packages for him and sent them out to
Absolutely,
him.
absolutely.
Mike and Ike's.
Yeah, his Mike and Ike's, his Peeps, and loaded with sugar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely,
Ramen soup.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah, just so he could eat the seasoning packet and throw
Yeah.
the noodles away.
Skittles and
Yeah, yeah.
Pez. Anything with sugar in it.
Oh yeah, most definitely. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. So, um, as we approach going into, like you said, February, March, um, and then we're going into April, the weekend of Sunday, the 11th, 2004. What was your weekend like? I know you had a lot going on that weekend.
Yeah, we had a Adopt a Soldier
hmm
fundraiser we went to on Saturday. The next day was Easter.
Yes, sir.
We had Easter dinner with our in-laws and sister-in-law and brother-in-law and all them. It was a weird day.
hmm
Sarah and I were to go shopping on Sunday morning for a care package for him because she wasn't too sure what to send. And he had he told her what he wanted, but he basically was giving me the list.
hmm
And he knew everything would get picked up. Sarah was busy between working and everything. Of course, I worked, but he thought I had more time. I'm mom.
Yes, ma'am.
So, anyways,
That way, if something was missing, he could yell at mom,
yeah,
not
he
the
yelled at me.
girlfriend, so that way he stayed in
Yeah.
good standing there.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
thumb drives were
Smart.
new back then, and I'm like,
Yeah, they
okay,
were.
what's this thumb drive? And
hmm
he's yelling at me because I'm not understanding what the thumb drive is.
Yeah, definitely.
He goes, just go to Staples and ask them for one. Like, okay. So Sarah and I had gone shopping, and usually we're just regular chatterboxes, her and I are. Really didn't talk much. The day was it was strange. It was very strange.
Hmm.
I knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
And then that evening we got home. I was waiting. I was by the computer and I was waiting. So I knew he was coming in back from his 10-day mission, because he did get to tell me he was going on a 10-day mission,
Okay.
that I wouldn't hear from him for 10 days. No emails, no phone calls, nothing. And I was waiting for him to come back. One of his buddies had messaged Sarah that morning and said that, I'm sure Nate will be talking to you first when he comes in today. He'll be in today.
Hmm.
They'll be in today. Um, so she was excited about that. And then I'm just waiting, I remember sitting by the computer and just feeling like, just knowing nothing's going to come across there for me. There's not going to be any contact. There's
Mm.
going to be nothing. And I'm like, well, why didn't Dury message me? What's going on here? And of course, I figured that Sarah was in bed because it was like 10:30 at night. So I didn't want to call her. And then the doorbell rang. I was at one end of the house at the computer, and the doorbell that rang was at the front of the house, about halfway through the home. And I remember the girls saying, I'll get it, because they're on vacation. So
Hmm.
they didn't have to be in bed for school in the morning. And they said, I'll get it. I'm like, and the dogs are barking. I said, girls, please be very careful answering that door, because you don't know what's on the other side. I just had this feeling something bad was on the other side.
Hmm.
So I started to walk from our breakfast room to our kitchen, and I just froze where I stood. I couldn't hear anything except for my daughter's crying, and then Megan's screaming for me. And then she comes through and just like I was trying to walk because I knew what she was going to tell me. And she's, police and military are here. And I just knew. And he fell apart the door. And my mom, who lived with us, was in her room, which was right off the front of the house. And, she's crying. My daughter's in with her crying. I couldn't hear anything the man was saying.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, and that was that.
Yes, ma'am. So, I apologize for having you retell that story and relive that moment. Um, but I appreciate you sharing um, what that scene looks like or sounds like, I guess, to people that have no idea and never be able to have never been able to experience that or anything. It's just something that we should take a moment to reflect on and appreciate. Um,
Mhm.
but what was the days like leading up to the time they actually brought him back from overseas? What was that like? How was the community responding to
Um,
you guys?
so the community was just all there. They were all there. So many of them, bring food and condolences and sit and
Hmm.
talk to us for hours. And, just, we had so much support.
Yes, ma'am.
And they honored the community. The community here at home really honored Nathan. Really, they honored him very well. He had many showed up for his funeral
Yes, ma'am.
and his wake. It was many. Um, our congressman was there. Of course, we heard from President George Bush at the time. Heard from lots of senators and congressmen and, you know, neighbors and people we didn't even know. And there were so many people we didn't even know that didn't even know Nathan, and just felt this overwhelming urge to come and, show their respects. And
Hmm.
and so many of them, now that I think back, it said to me, he made such an impact on my life, or somebody that knew him just a little bit.
Absolutely.
He made such an impact. He was such a strong and influential individual.
Yes, ma'am. 22 years later,
And his friends,
I was gonna say 22 years later,
were all just
Bridges.
devastated.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Definitely. Um, so I mean, the funeral happened and everything, and all the community showed respect and everything. I know that you guys have different like um like charity events for him. Would you like to talk about some of those? Because I know the last time we
Yeah.
spoke, like about a month ago, you had a lot of things going on in in April, matter of fact, which was the 20-year anniversary of this situation happening.
Yep. His anniversary, 20-year anniversary of his death.
Yes, ma'am.
We also just recently had a blood drive, his annual blood drive.
Okay.
One of the guys that served with him,
Hmm.
Doc, and his wife, started the blood drive
Okay.
and just kept it going, kept going through the years. I mean, it's been over 10 years now. It's been going.
Hmm.
And then there's college scholarships in his name, in his honor, to be given out.
Hmm.
One of them is through what college? Hudson Valley College.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's strictly for military. For any military individual that wants to attend Hudson Valley College, it's strictly for them.
Awesome.
It's it's also funded by the People to People
Hmm.
Foundation. I believe that's what they're called, People to People,
Hmm.
which is a very, very good organization. They do a lot for military. And then numerous things. There's been golf drives, in his honor to raise money, running a 5K run
Hmm.
in his honor, to raise money for the military, for wounded warrior and adopt a soldier,
Hmm.
different things like that.
Yes, ma'am. So when his unit came back from overseas, did you meet with any of the guys? Did they have any stories for you about their experiences with him overseas?
Yeah, we were there. We were, Ricky and the kids and I had gone when they came for their deployment, their homecoming ceremony. Matter of
Hmm.
fact, they're having their 20-year this August. That we plan on attending.
Awesome.
They invite us to everything,
Hmm.
and yes, they had some stories. None of them surprised me. They had some stories.
Hmm.
Had some stories of they were being mortared, or bombed, or whatever. It was nighttime,
Hmm.
and they're all getting up to get out of their conics and get outside wherever you guys do or whatnot.
Hmm.
And one of his battle buddies said to me, Roddy, he goes, yeah, and here's Brown, here's Brownie. He's got his
Flak jacket.
flak jacket on and nothing else.
Oh, I believe it. Oh, absolutely.
Just taking pictures,
Hmm.
laughing, and
Yep. Yep.
and here he was. And then there was a time that Roddy had said to me, he's his camel pack.
Hmm.
His recruiter wanted a camel pack too, but of course he couldn't get one.
Hmm.
And Nathan took in Roddy, and when they were out at Fort Drum
Hmm.
during training, they took and blew up his camel pack. So I said to Arthur, because I said to Arthur, I said, geez, I said, you know, something about he blew up his camel pack. He goes, oh, those are so nice. I wanted one of those. That's what I wanted the most, was one of those. So I asked my casualty officer, can you get me another camel pack? And we gave it to Arthur.
Hmm.
And he has just cherished that. He's loved it, just cherished it. He used to have a display when he was recruiter. He's retired military now.
Hmm.
He had a display of all of Nathan and Chad Byrne, who also had passed away when he got home, and Zach
Hmm.
um, Bergmeyer, when of course, he passed away when he got home too. And he had this display of them and of a couple other the men that were killed in action. with them that were National Guard. And he had a display in his case, and he had that Camelback picture of Nate, um, pictures of them, flags, just anything, stuff like that. He just cherished it.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I'm sure he still has it. But they blew that up, and just crazy stuff.
Oh yeah. I have just to show the people out there. I carry his KIA bracelet with me.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah,
awesome.
it's beautiful.
Yeah, got a lot of
That's
wind out of that
beautiful.
thing. Absolutely. I know when I used to like after basic training, because you get to know these guys that you go through basic training with, and they become like your brothers. You go from civilian to soldier together. I decided to try to keep up with some of the guys, at least the best way I could, or I would look up to see if I could anything that they were doing. And one of the ways that I was doing that too, because I had a website to the CNN website where it showed like I think it was CNN at the time, but it showed in real time like the people who were killed in action, and I remember seeing his name come across, and how devastated that made me, because this was somebody that I knew, like, he was the first person that I knew that was killed in action. And there was a couple of more later on, as time went on, but he was the first person I knew that was killed in action. And I remember crying about it, because I just remember how full of life he was, especially in basic training, and how much, he just had one of them spirits that, nah, not this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was it was definitely a sad moment for me, and I wanted to make sure that I tried to keep in contact with you guys, or at least keep in touch with his family as best I could, and we've been in communication with each other for years, and I just wanted to make sure that I was able to have you guys on this platform to share his story and to keep his legacy going, because it's important that we know the sacrifices that a lot of people have made for this country, and that these people aren't just names or pictures that you see flashing across your
Hmm.
telephone or your TV screen. That
Exactly.
these are real people who had families that loved them, who had dreams, that had goals, that had
Yeah.
that had vision. That there were people that cared about them, and they have a story. And if I could use my platform to to just try to capture their legacy and immortalize them, so that people could visit 30, 40 years from now and be able to see, man, Nathan Brown, like, what is this dude about? So, they get on there and, oh man, he was like this. He was like, and, sometimes these stories also can be inspirational to some people who don't have anything to look up to later on. So that's another reason why I wanted to make sure I captured you guys on here.
Yeah.
And we're always going to be in communication, because we just are connected like that. And I
Yeah.
want to make sure that um, I definitely want to I definitely want to do this in the most respectful and most honorable way I can possible. And I also want to say thank you for allowing me to be able to put his story online and capture it in the video. And I already told you guys this before, but I want to make sure I put it out there again, that this Great Man podcast is going to make a donation to the Wounded Warrior project
Yeah.
in his name, for for his sacrifice and his service. Yeah, that was definitely one of my brothers. So I appreciate it. Definitely.
Yes. Well, thank you, Carlo.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service, and thank
Definitely.
you for keeping Nathan's memory alive.
Absolutely.
It
Definitely.
means a great deal,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
you know.
Definitely.
And I hope that even with all the help out there, I hope it can help some of our military, past military, and I hope anything in here could help them with their struggles to know that, you know, if they think that a family doesn't want to hear from them, yes, they do. Yes, they do. They want to talk to them. They want to know their stories.
Absolutely.
You know, they want to know about their child or their husband or their dad.
Mhm.
You know, we want to know, but we also want to know the people that were with, you know, our loved one that spent those, you know, last moments with them. Because I know to myself, and I'm sure a lot of moms out there, that carries a lot of weight in healing. A lot of weight in healing. I think it does for both sides.
Mhm. Yes, ma'am. All right. And let me see. Is there anything else that you want to tell us about Brother Nathan?
Miss him dearly every day.
Every
day. I miss his smile, his laughter, even his serious moments.
Mhm.
I just
You would
miss him.
think after 20 years, you know, you'd kind of like, it's like one of the first things that comes to my head in the morning
Mhm.
and one of the last things I think about at night. And anytime something crazy, actually more or less, hey, anytime something funny happens,
Mhm.
immediately, you know, it's like a boom.
Yep. Smile. Yeah. Yep. You will smile eventually.
Yep.
I'll tell you, because I didn't think I was ever going to smile again.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
then I had that. I remember having that thought, just having a thought of him doing something crazy, and I just
Freaking
started
smile right to
smiling.
your face.
And I'll tell you, if I am not, I swear, if I am not thinking about him, he will do something
Mhm.
to make me think about him.
Yep.
Or be like, okay, Nate, all right, okay.
Absolutely.
I remember I had spoken to one of the radio stations around here, wanted me to speak to a medium.
Mhm.
Susan Northrup is her name. And I agreed to it. And she had said to me, no, it was another one that I had spoken to, that one of my nephew's girlfriends paid to have me speak to. Came back from visiting his grave. He's buried he's buried in Schuylerville in New York in Gerald B. Solomon Cemetery.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful cemetery, military cemetery. And I had come back. Well, I was taking a new way coming back. There's like 10 different ways you can get down to that cemetery.
Mhm.
And I came back a different way. Well, I missed my turn and I kept going, and I ended up in Grangerville. I'm like, what is Grangerville? I've never even heard of it. You know? And I'm like, what the heck? Well, something's telling me to turn around, because all I can see is Fire Road 1, Fire Road 2. Like, so I turn around and go back. Well, I noticed the Stewart's and a couple of the stores on the corner. I'm like, oh, this is 29. And so I'm like, okay, now I know where I am.
Mhm.
I have to get gas, because I was never out of gas. I stopped at the Stewart's, I got gas. Well, the medium had said to me, he's telling me that you got lost and you were trying to find your way back. He was trying to tell you where to go. But as always, Mom, you never listen, he's telling me. Yep, that's him.
That's funny.
I was never a believer in that stuff, but that made me believe. It
Yeah.
made me believe.
That's awesome.
You know.
Well, like I said, I definitely appreciate you guys. I want you to have a good rest of your day, and we will definitely be in communication very soon. As I said, I'm trying to put this out on Memorial Day. So, in the military, we had in closing, in the military, we always use acronyms. And here at the Gray Man Podcast, we have an acronym also. The acronym is called HOPS. And HOPS stands for I want people to train hard, train often, train properly, and train safely. And with that being said, have a good night, man. Sir, peace.
Good night. Thank you, Carlos.
Absolutely.
Carlos.
All right.
Doorbell rang. All the lights were off outside because it was 10 o'clock. I heard my daughter holler to me, and I got up and got as far as the kitchen, and I froze. And she looked at me, and I said, "Let this be a lie." And she started crying, and she goes, "There's a military man and a police officer at the door."
And what did they say?
I don't know. I didn't hear a word the man said to me, not a word. I saw my husband falling apart at the front door. I don't even know. I blacked it out. I didn't know until the gentleman handed me a piece of paper And I read the piece of paper, and then all kinds of things started going through my mind. Where was he? Did he suffer? Was it really him? You know, how did he look? You know, it was, I think the biggest one was that I wasn't there.
He was my son, my wife's son, and he had brothers and sisters, and he still has brothers still left over in Iraq. I'm deeply gonna miss the boy. He's not a boy no more, he's a man.
Nathan's fiancée, Sarah, tried to compose herself, but it was so hard.
Nathan was a great guy. He was my best friend. He was my fiancé, and he loved his country, his family, and all of his friends very much. And I hope the best to all of them that are over there now.
Sarah, I love you. And
Nathan's goodbye video was no longer just in case. Now,
I loved you.
it was painfully
So
real.
much. All right, you mean everything to me, Sarah. I love you very, very much. And I hope you don't get this, but if you do, I love you and I'll meet you in heaven. Bye-bye.